Now live from Studio 550, it's McGraw in the Morning on the Big 550 KTRS.
9:39 here, Mega 940 here on the Big 550 KTRS. Charles D'Angelo from Team Charles, our health guru, our nutrition coach.
What's going on? Weight loss coach.
Weight loss coach. Good morning this morning.
You know, McGraw, I was just thinking when I was in the green room over there, what would you do if I told you that in town, it's not even being marketed, but there's a place that within maybe 2 hours, I just visited this week.
Yeah.
Listen closely if you're sitting in your car. In 2 hours, you can lose 10 pounds. What would you say about that?
I would say I got to call Team Charles and see if it's bogus.
Well, I'll tell you where it is. And I was just there. Six Flags, 110-degree heat. Okay? 10 pounds, 2 hours? Come on down.
Minus the funnel cakes, I'm assuming, right? Yeah. Stay away from the funnel cakes.
You know, I used to be 360 pounds, right? And there must be something true to that old saying that psychologically painful things you block out. Because I went to Six Flags when I was a kid.
Right.
I couldn't ride a lot of the rides because I was so big, but I do not remember the rides being at the top of hills. Now, I'm in pretty damn good shape, excuse my language there, but darn good shape, I should say. And I'll tell you, I really feel empathy for people that are in the former situation I was in. And it's a good thing I took this week off kind of getting out in the heat and that, because it really reminds you of just how miserable you can feel when you're carrying around all that extra weight.
Did you see the story that Missouri is one of 9 states in the country that has over 30% of the population is deemed obese?
Isn't that unbelievable? I mean, look around. How many people do you see in shape? There was a story that came out this week, too, that said they think that 2030 will be kind of the epitome when the childhood obesity rate comes to fruition with regard to how it impacts our health system, how it impacts the majority of our world. Because think if right now the majority of our kids are overweight, when they're 35, 40, 45 years old, what's that going to mean to the economy and the stress that that's going to put on our whole way of doing business?
It really is extraordinary, and they say it is at epidemic proportions.
Unbelievable. You know, I was just one of many. In my grade school, I was really the only really overweight kid, but looking at high school and that, and the kids that come to see me in my office today, there are so many kids that struggle with it. And, you know, you try to figure out where's the issue coming from. Is it the parents? And there's a hot debate on that. I mean, do you blame the parents for not teaching them? Do you blame the teachers? Do you blame the school system? And I really think that it's kind of a little bit of everything that contributes to the issue. It's
really crazy. Now, last night, were your ears burning?
No,
because I was out at Busch Stadium and I was very, very good. And one of my triggers and where I fall down, we should say, I started working with you back in November. I've lost almost 90 pounds.
That's right.
Put on a couple pounds since then, but I'm still within
maintaining. Yeah, we keep I always tell everyone that comes to see me that after you reach your goal, don't set your mind on I want to wake up at 189 pounds every day. You want to have a range. Any physician will tell you want to keep yourself within a 10-pound range of where your ideal is. So if your ideal is 190, I'd say keep yourself between 185 and 195.
And knock on wood, so far so good.
You've done remarkably well.
One of my triggers, though, one of my downfalls, and it's really working with you, you learn about eating healthy. You actually enjoy eating healthy. But you also learn your triggers, and you learn how to stay away from your triggers, and you also learn to sort of, face your fears. And one of my fears is the ball game. Because going to the ball game, you want a hot dog, you want a soda, you want a pretzel, you want peanuts, you want this, you want that. And so last night we went to the game, and I was working with a couple of people who are working with you, and we were having a conversation about your program.
I can only imagine.
Which I must say, you're a guest on the show. This isn't a paid sponsorship, but I mean, this is part of who I am now. And people come up to me and they say, well, how are you guys doing it? This is the question I get every time. Oh, my goodness, how are you doing this? What type of diet are you on? And you turn to them and you say, I'm on this really weird diet where I'm exercising and I'm eating right.
And the exercise isn't crazy. At your peak, you did nearly an hour of exercise a day. And now we've backed it down a bit. And I have now, this week, it was exciting. Before I took vacation, I'm all off this week. But last week, a woman hit the 100-pound mark. 37 people so far have lost over 100 pounds working with me. So exactly what you're saying about breaking through, really realizing your fears and coming to grasps of how much emotions are tied to food. For you lost nearly 90. For a lot of people that have a lot more to lose, it's even deeper. And socially, you're talking about the ball game. It's such an ingrained part of our society
right.
that it's hard to break free from.
And also, I've noticed, is that people love to give cheap food.
Yeah.
Sugar, donuts, cakes, candy, cookies.
Hostess, yeah.
They're
cupcakes,
always
whatever.
dropping off food, and it's bad. No one ever drops off apples.
Yeah, what about that place now? They have, what is it, Edible, to give a free plug to them. I can't even think of the name. Edible Delight or Edible something. Edible Arrangements, where it's a big fruit arrangement.
Right.
The thing is that stuff costs money, too. It's a little bit more expensive than buying a tin of popcorn for somebody.
No, that's exactly right. And yet everyone's like, "Oh, great popcorn! Oh, great, the sugar high!" And so you don't realize that it's everywhere, and you've got to be vigilant. Well, and also I should say, last summer I was trying to lose weight, and I was like, I got to start running, and I would run 5 miles. I would dread it. I would hate it. The first week with you said 35 minutes on the treadmill, walking. Just walking.
Listen, if you're out there, you're overweight, you feel like you're stuck, you can take some really simple steps. Go to a gym, buy a treadmill for your house. You probably have one in the basement you're using for clothing as a clothing rack right now. Anyway, 35 minutes, that's the exercise component. But let's look at the reality is that if you wouldn't have made the changes with your foods, you would have not lost nearly what you've been able to, because your hunger wouldn't have been stable. You're talking about eating all these really processed, high-sugar foods. Your blood sugar's up and down, and with that comes an incredibly insatiable appetite.
Right.
So it's really important to get your foods in line. That's
Explain that for a second, because I don't think people quite understand that. If you eat a Snickers bar, if you go out and have lunch and you have a burger and fries,
sure,
and then at 2 o'clock you're starving again, but you're really not hungry.
Yeah, ask yourself a question. When you eat a bowl of pasta, let's say you have a huge bowl of just spaghetti with red sauce, right? And you have that meal. Now, keep that in mind. Now, take that you have an 8 to 10 ounce chicken breast grilled, okay? Which are you going to get hungrier from sooner? Of course, the answer is going to be from the pasta. Why? Your body cranks through all of those simple carbs. It throws all that sugar into your bloodstream. Your blood sugar rises quickly, but there's nothing to buffer the fall or to buffer the rise. So that dramatic decrease in your blood sugar then increases your appetite to try to get your blood sugar back to a homeostatic point, and that's when your appetite comes in, and your body's craving those carbs. That's why people feel like they're addicted to carbs.
Right.
If you can just break yourself of a lot of those simple sugars, get rid of a lot of the empty calories like the soda, like the candy, all of those things, if you can keep those out, your hunger's not going to become such an issue. And if you keep protein as a component of your diet, I'm not saying you have to, be on Atkins-like diet, quite the contrary, but if you keep protein in your diet, you'll find that you're nourishing your living tissue and you're not nearly as hungry.
And so the afternoon Snickers bar, because you're trying to regulate your blood sugar, you're really not hungry, but your body thinks it's hungry. So you're like, I can't do this diet because I'm starving by 2 o'clock. You're really not starving.
That's exactly right.
Your body is craving the blood sugar, which you've just spiked and then lost.
It's not that your stomach's empty. It's simply that your body's trying to get itself back to a stable point. And that's why it's really true. And I feel so sorry for people out there that struggle with being overweight like I once did because of that issue. They just don't know. And if you're just willing to sit down and say, you know what, I'm going to put all my preconceived ideas aside. I'm going to just give this my 100% full effort. And that's what I tell a person when they come in to see me. I don't mean to be a jerk about it, but I say, look, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of individuals. My ways of doing things are tested, have been proven to work for every single person that comes to see me.
Right.
You got to be willing to give it your all.
Right.
If you want to bring your own agenda to the table, not going to be the best idea with regard to getting you the results you're looking for.
As I told the people last night, Charles D'Angelo tells me I don't ask any questions. I just shut up and do what the guy told me, and the weight came off.
Andrew, do you have any Godfather music you could play while he's
All right, Charles joins us once a month to talk health and nutrition, and after that story where 30% of Missourians are obese, it really is an epidemic, and it's not that hard and it's not that difficult, and you actually might even enjoy it along the way.
You'll enjoy it, and most importantly, we'll teach you how to keep it where you can maintain.
Charles, what's the website?
Charles D'Angelo, CharlesDangelo.com, 314-495-3228.
Have a good rest of the vacation.
See you later.
8:50 on KTRS. Mike Shannon joins us next on KTRS.